Okay, this is the way we're going to do it. As of today, October 9th of 2025, which is the second video that I will probably upload by the end of the day. Anything that is thrown out, tossed out, given away, is going to be documented with a dollar value to it, with pictures included. Being that we can't put it online and sell it at on our schedule, in terms of Andre and I, we're being forced to get rid of it. So there's a path. Okay? Alright, this here used to be downstairs. Let me put this on me. Is that still recording? I think so. Because, you know, I can't see, right? Yeah. The little red part that says record. Anyway. I know. I'm looking old. Whatever. This used to be downstairs. What it is, if I can open it. How do you open it? It's a little picnic thing. And because Andre still wants his fort, I'm keeping it. Because then he can use that with his little friends outside. For a little barbecue or something. Maybe we'll work on another solar oven. Who knows? We'll do something. Oh, why can't I open this? It shouldn't be that hard to open it. No. Here we go. Now, as I'm working on the porch, which I'm going to start today, to clean up Gabe's mess and start doing porch repairs, I'm hoping to find a spot for this. But you know what? It's a hit and miss, because this is plastic, and if it sits outside and gets mildewy for any length of time, the mildew is going to get right into the plastic eventually, if it stays outside long enough. Right now, as it is, it's nice and clean. Okay? It's nice and clean. Because it's been inside, but because I've been displaced from the basement, it got thrown out into the garage. I had to bring it inside. And it's here. It's one of those things I'm not allowed to own, because I have no place for it that's conducive to other people's expectations as to how you should live your life and what you are allowed to own. Alright, that's the first thing. I have a box full of books here that, when those social workers came, it used to be over there, right? Because, you know, I'm working on putting together a homeschool center, right? And so I'm not taking them downstairs, but I'm going to build an area where there's a homeschool center where people can come and go through the stuff and go through the books, basically, right? And yeah. So what is this? Oh, Mars and Venus. Oh wow. I'm gonna have Andre take a picture of this. Okay, he's not allowed to sell it. We're not allowed to sell it. Make any kind of money off of it. Because it's uncleanly. Uncleanly. I think that's how you pronounce it. Uncleanly. They keep saying, you know, you gotta clean, you gotta clean. I clean every day. Okay? Oh, well, organize. You know, blah. You know, be careful with what kind of words you use, because it's not like you're coming in here and... Now, the porch, what's going on in the porch right now, that's some grody shit. That you clean. Here, you try and keep organized as more shit that you own for years and years and years and years is being displaced, where you either throw it in the garbage, put it out on the road, right? You know what I'm saying? Or you bring it in. And I brought it in upstairs because, you know, I'm thinking maybe Andre might want to go outside with the kids in this, you know, summertime. They don't have the play equipment anymore outside, little AMA and Kyrie, because that's all gone, because that was the first stage of the eviction. Okay, what I'm going through now with the second stage on the inside is the second stage of the eviction. So they can downsize my family into a more expensive place with less space, with less belongings, possibly not having enough everything that you may need in order to meet the needs of, we'll just say Amari, for example, or even Andre, maybe wanting to do something outside for the little picnic kind of, whatever. It doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? You're not allowed to fucking own it, because if you do, you're going to get into trouble. Because it's taking up space. Yeah, okay. Right. And then they'll use that as an excuse to come in and start the cycle all over again. Right? You know what I'm saying? And before you know it, you're living in a freaking storage unit, assuming that you can find one that's affordable. Because apparently they're renting out storage units in Canada now to people for $1,100 a month. I'm going to put that video into the description of this video. Okay, in terms of the housing crises and what people are facing when they lose their housing through the manipulation of that manufactured poverty, where you become targeted individuals and you fall under a caste system where you're paying for things that you shouldn't have to pay for, as your belongings are being robbed from you from left, right, and center. You know, could be anybody that's going to rob you, but you can guarantee that somebody's going to rob you. Doesn't matter whether they're a hood rat or they're working for the government. Somebody's going to fucking rob you, and it won't be once, it won't be twice, it will be an ongoing occurrence where they don't acknowledge that you're being robbed, because for some reason they think they're entitled to rob you, and if they haven't robbed you yet, they're conspiring to rob you. So right now, in my opinion, what's going on with these demands that are unreasonable, in my opinion, because this is my life, my family, our special circumstances, our situation. They're not the ones facing homelessness. They're not the ones giving their stuff away, throwing it out, trashing it. Who knows what they're, you know, they're not the ones that are wanting to run to safe houses to get away from fucking dirty cops that want to make you say something just because they can say, talk, boy. And Andre doesn't want to talk. He said, you can't make me talk until I'm detained. That's what Andre came to me and said, Nana, because I said, Andre, you know, with these cops, I mean, with these social workers, the way they're acting, like, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't show up with the cops and try and take Amari out of here. And they're going to try and take you too, because they keep using Andre as a tool so that they can justify what they're doing. Oh, okay, you're going to get rid of $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 worth of stuff so that Andre can't learn how to sell it, so he becomes financially illiterate, because you robbed him of his opportunity to learn how to do percentages, do money calculations, learn how to work with a spreadsheet, learn how to keep ledgers, learn how to keep track of inventory. You don't want Andre to learn those things because it's not happening fast enough on your time schedule? Oh, well, you told us 2 years ago that you were going to start selling your stuff. Yeah, I've been asking for 4 or 5 years for people to help me sell my stuff, but nobody wants to fucking help me. Instead, they want to rob from me. Instead, they want to steal from me. Instead, they want to throw my shit out. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But nobody's trying to help me, you know, to sell anything. And Andre was too young at that time, 2 years ago, to step up to the plate. But he's a little whippersnapper on the computer now, and if you give him enough time, he'll get real damn good at it. And it's almost like they don't want him to get good at it, people, because they want to take everything away from us. So they can walk out of here feeling like, what? A queen? That you basically limited a family to poverty, and all you did was push them closer towards even deeper poverty? by removing gainful opportunities that not only educate, but can elevate self-esteem. You know, I can pay down some bills. Andre can make 30% on this book that he sells. If we sell this book for $5, okay, Andre, you do the math. It's 30% on the dollar. How much money did you make by helping Nana to sell this book? Well, I don't know. I wasn't allowed to sell the book, Nana, because the social workers made you throw it out. There you go. That's where we're at with this game. So I say, okay, Andre, if that's the case, if that's what they're fucking doing here, then you know what? It might get ugly. It might get ugly, and they might just show up, because it wouldn't be the first time they haven't fucking threatened cops on my family. Kick Sierra out. If you don't kick her out, if she comes home, we're coming in with the cops, and we're getting Andre out. Why are you kicking her out? Because we want to teach her a lesson that she needs to come home. And being that she hasn't been coming home in a timely manner, because that's what you guys said, we're going to use that as a tool, as our means to manipulate the family, keep them in deep fucking depression, put them into cortisol destruction mode, threaten the cops, plot and scheme behind your back how we can steal Andre in a daycare setting, illegally, mind you, just so that you can be in control. Don't be surprised if they don't try it again. What would you do, Andre? Well, I'd bolt. That's what he told me, people. I'd bolt. I said, bolt? Bolt to where? I'm going to the safe house. I said, what safe house? The one Brad showed me. There's 2 of them. Or I can go to Brad's. I said, well, honestly, I would prefer you to go to Brad's. If you need to fucking run, you run. That's okay. You know, I told Andre, if you need to run away from Marcaine after Nana's dead, because Marcaine's running around acting like a raging lunatic, and like he was back in the day when he was stampeding around, throwing out all my shit, being a tyrant, that man. You know, and you needed to run away from home, go run to the social workers. Somebody will help you. Yeah, right. What a joke that was. Slap in the face. Forget it. He ain't going to be running to no freaking social workers. Hell no. He's going to run to a safe house. Or he's going to run to his boss. Yeah. And he said, the cops can't make me talk to nobody unless I'm detained. And if he gets detained, guess what? Lawyer up. Lawyer up. Yeah, and then they can put him into their little programs with all the other street youth running around out there like fucking hoodlums, high on methamphetamine, strung out on heroin, and passing out on fentanyl if they're not ODing and dying and having their body parts harvested. Okay? Don't talk to me about Andre and his school when you're robbing him of gainful opportunities. So I'm going to put $1. I don't care what the hell it is. $1 amount. Okay, here's some children's books, right? Great for homeschooling. Will Andre ever read them? Probably not. Would Marina like me to keep them in case she has kids? Maybe. I don't know. All I know is I'm setting up a homeschool center, but not now. I can't. I have to fucking get rid of everything. Just throw it all away. Just throw it all away. All right? That's what the social workers want you to put it outside, let it fucking rot. You know what I'm saying? Who cares if Andre wants to make a little bit of money, learn how to fucking do math, and become financially literate? Who cares? That's not what we care about. That's being dramatic. Okay? That's what that was. Okay? But that's how these social workers treat my shit. And they're not any more different than that Punjabi with that black turban standing at my fucking rail saying get rid of everything. Because if you don't, we're coming in with the fucking city. You got 2 weeks to do it. Put your son outside like a fucking slave and work him like a dog in the middle of winter. Freezing fucking cold when it's not pouring rain or snowing. And now we've got the other part of the team, the social workers. Liquidating the inside as they're lying up in our faces, talking about they're trying to help the kids. Yeah, right. You got me walking out of that building wanting to run away from home. But of course, I'm an adult. I ain't gonna do that. So I went and bought some food, and I gave some food to Marina, and I got some fucking food up here. And I'm getting ready for 3 wars. 3 of them. Fucking right. Yeah, small claims court, provincial court, and the Supreme Court. I will go down fighting until my last breath. I'm gonna take this box, maybe, to the neighbors and just give it away before I put it out by the garbage can. But before I do that, Andre has to go through the whole box and log everything. Yep. And we're gonna put a dollar amount on it. And when I say 20, 30, 40 fucking $1,000, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't surpass that. Yeah. Let's look at some of these books. Seventh Heaven. No, more like freaking hell. Welcome to Hell. Merry Christmas. Somebody. Mint condition. Mint fucking condition. Sorry, boo-boo condition. The Far... I don't know. Easy reading. Andre should be reading some of these. This one might be... Some of these would be good for him. Right? Because, you know, he can, like, do amazing things on the computer. Stuff like this he not interested in reading. Anyway. The Quest of Paradise. Looks like another kid's book, from what I can tell. Homeschool. Whatever. Who cares? They don't care about that. This is all about Seattle. It's old, but if you want to know about Seattle, you can still use it. Another kid's book. Because it's a series. There's a few of them. There's a few of them. There's a few of them that go together, right? Right? What's this one? BC Senior Guides. Oh, I should keep that one. Not that it means anything, because their legislation is mute as far as I'm concerned. Take them to court with their fucking legislation. They act like it doesn't exist, and that there is no such thing as called legislation, because it's all a waste of the court's time. But when they want to use legislation, that's, oh wait, it's legislation. It says in the legislation. Yeah? Well, where were you in 2003? Where were you in 2003 when I moved into Sarah's house and took on the burden of looking after a foster care child for nothing? For nothing. And where were you? You weren't nowhere to be seen. Not until Andre showed up. They think they own him. Because he was in foster care. You're right. Kids. Kids. Perfect mint condition. Kids. This is what they had me put out in the fucking porch. I had to bring it in. It was already getting damp. And now it's sitting here, and I'm having stupid panic attacks. Waiting for the cops to show up. Because I'm being, what, rebellious? I'm not complying? I'm not letting them kick me in the ass without saying something about it? Throw me out to the fucking streets in a year, 2, 3, when they got me just exactly where they want me with my family, all fucked up in their head because of that cortisol? Yeah, okay. Kids. It's all fucking kids. Here's a big one. What's this one? Timber design manual. Oh, maybe my son might like this. I don't know what this is. Ooh. It says timber design manual. That might be good for my son. He works with trees. I have to look at it better. What's this one? James Rowlands. The Last Oracle. I guess it's a story. Alright? Worth $5, don't you think? How much do you think is in that box? 20 bucks? 30 bucks? 40 bucks? I guess it all depends on how much. 2 cents. Buy a book for 2 cents, okay? Can you do that? Can you afford 2 cents? Because otherwise it's going out in the garbage. I better get my 2 cents. That's all I'm allowed to have is 2 fucking cents. Right? Because ain't nobody gonna wait. You might have to wait for a while for it to sell for $5. I'm just saying. And, you know, you got that whip on your back where you gotta have nothing. Basic. Bare bones fucking basic. And then they'll come in and say you don't have enough. Yeah, you don't have enough to do what you need to do. So, therefore, you know, we're right back where we started. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Yeah, okay. So Andre says, I said, well, what if they come? What you gonna do if they come? You know? Because they, you know, they're egging to talk to Andre. They're trying to break him. They're trying to get him to, I don't know, they're trying to manipulate him. That's what they're trying to do. And 2 years ago, he didn't want to talk with them then, and he knew it. And he barely said anything. They asked him if he told them exactly what he thought, and they dropped it. Now, they're just, you know, they're going in for the kill. They're going in for the kill. They're taking advantage of the most vulnerable. Yeah, they want to put Amari at risk to be by himself so that he can get injured, so that I can be blamed for it, right? And quite possibly die, because there's benefits around his death, and that's just the bottom freaking line. Right? They Children's Hospital, the government, I don't know, I'm going to pull up this fact. It's a fact. I'm not sure what material facts are. Okay? If we have documented $20,000 worth of shit being thrown out because of social workers wanting more space that's not going to be used the way they think it's going to be used, okay? And we're out that $20,000 plus just the learning experience around it for Andre. In terms of life skills. They're not just taking away his education, but they're taking away life skills. They do not acknowledge that he helps with Amari and that he's responsible and a good kid. They don't acknowledge it. They don't praise him for, oh gee, it's great that you helped your Nana. It's good that you know how to look after Amari. No. They're looking to, oh, well, you know, that's not what you need to be doing. You're supposed to be free and just do what you want, when you want, and basically, you know, forget about what's going on in the inside of the house. Go explore the world. Here, we'll help you. We'll hook you up with this program and that program, where some of those programs are going to get them introduced to freaking hood rats, addicted to drugs, have more severe psychological problems than we do. Right? And because he doesn't have a home anymore, because social workers took care of that, you know what I'm saying? He'll just become another statistic. And then everybody will blame his mother. Well, he came from a drug-addicted mom. And look what the Nana did. And she just failed him all the way through it. Yeah, right. I don't think so. I'm going to teach Andre to stand up on his own 2 fucking feet and fight the good fight when you need to fight the good fight. And he's already fighting the fight without even saying anything about him doing that, by saying, well, if the cops show up now, or the social workers, I'll just bolt. I'm like, what do you mean you bolt? I'm going to the safe house. Brad showed me where they are. I said, oh, well, I'd rather you go to Brad's, because at least I know Brad, right? I don't know these safe houses. I don't know how safe they are, but apparently there's a couple of safe houses out here. Yeah. Are they hooked in with the social workers? God forbid. That's all he needs, to go to a safe house and run into the same damn social workers. That's a joke. That's a real fucking joke. Yeah. while Mario's sitting up in some metal cage that's padded, plugged into a feeding tube, with a baby monitor on him, as the caregiver is looking into a screen or maybe listening when they're doing dishes, as if they would know what to listen for to catch them in a seizure so they can say what a good damn job they're doing. Yeah, okay. So anyway, that's a whole box of books. So, you want me to get rid of my shit? We'll start with this box first. I've already been thinking about taking it next door because of this damn pressure from these fucking stupid social workers. Okay? Yeah, but I'm going to have Andre list them down. He's not going to like it, but he's going to get good at it. Yep, he's going to get good at it. This is your money. This is the government teaching you that you can't have a business, Andre. Your business is to get rid of your stuff and don't accumulate anything as you grow, because if you do, somebody's going to come in from the government. It doesn't matter if it's municipal, provincial, or freaking, municipal or provincial. City of Surrey come in and wiped out the fucking yard, wiped out my fucking shed. $20,000, $10,000, who knows how much went out the door. Plus I'm paying out I paid out $2,100 for that shit, and I haven't even gotten a receipt yet. I haven't even gotten a receipt yet. As I'm paying for fucking rats running around in the fucking roof. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's back. It was over here, it was over there. So those mouse guys have to come back and climb up into the attic. Because they're coming in off the roof somehow. Or maybe there's sewer rats coming in with these fucking broken pipes around here from all this digging, because there's definitely something going on with the water. Definitely something going on with the water. Right? And I didn't have this problem with this fucking rat shit until the last 6 months. My son said there was something in the walls, never really heard about that, but, you know, I had one mouse right there, that was it. But outside of that, this whatever's up there, you know, even Marcane said maybe there's sewer rats, and that means they're coming in from the pipes. There's broken pipes out there, and that could be why the water is so nasty. And my neighbor's water is nasty. As the septic tank that's 100 years old, buried deep into the ground because this was farmland, is working its way up and pushing the freaking tree out of the ground with its roots showing as it's rotting, as her frickin' land is cracking, where she's afraid to walk on it. Not to mention when it rains, it starts to flood like this. Yeah, okay. Okay. And that's what you're gonna force what's left of my family from this house. So I'm gonna get on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna upload this like this right now. After this video's up, I'm gonna put this one. We'll keep it real freaking short, because this bullshit, right? I'm like on panic mode. Everybody's depressed. Yeah, it's starting to spiral down with that freaking cortisol going, right? Some of us want to run away and just forget our problems. Obviously, I said, Andre, now you see, when you say, oh, I'm afraid, oh, it's normal. But it's what you do with those feelings that count. If you notice, Nana came back. And I came back with food for upstairs and downstairs, right? Because, you know, you face your problems, right? Because he's very sensitive with his, displaced anger and that type of thing, right? That's part of the problem with the parent-teen conflict, because his little friend, Jude, who's like 13, just going on 14 years old, you know, smoking cigarettes, vaping, smoking pot, drinking, on his third girlfriend, doesn't want to hang out with the boys because he's too busy showing off, doing whatever he's doing with other people. Andre gets depressed, right? Because that was his best friend, eh? And so, you know, when he gets like that, then, you know, he gets moody, and then we fight, and, you know, because he's rude to me, and then I take away the cord, and once the cord is gone, that's when, you know, it's just, you know, he turns into a little green-eyed monster, and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, the last time I took the cord away, his little green-eyed monster episode was, what do you call it? It was only like 20 minutes or so. So that, you know, he's come a long way with, I suppose, anger management, whether it's displaced anger or direct anger for the moment of whatever's happening at that particular time, right? Because displaced anger definitely plays a role in how people react to things, behave towards things, and yada yada yada. Well, these social workers, they freaking know it. They got, you know, and there was more than 2 people in there. There was only supposed to be 2. She ended up bringing in 2 extra people because the woman that was supposed to be the facilitator had another woman that was sitting in front of a computer just, right, you know, not saying a damn thing, but she, because, you know, we were getting heated, right, because, you know, there's, came in with emotional baggage. And they're tweaking. There's this, and this, putting on a whole lot of fucking stress that you know, they're making, they're destroying lives. Okay, they're putting lives in jeopardy, and they are inching towards an eviction. This is the first stages of the eviction outside of what the city of Surrey. The second stage. It's the second stage. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if I don't do what they say, what do you think's going to happen? You think they're just going to walk away and accept that? Or do you think they're going to come in with the cops? With their, oh, well, you can't get a gurney in here. Right? Yeah. Even though I've been in this house 15 years and we've never had anything major. And since when did it become illegal to have an accident? Say if you fall and you need to, you know, hurt your ankle or whatever, busted your freaking elbow, right? An ambulance had to come, right? Who's to say that's illegal? Who's to say that would even happen? Or me have a heart attack? It becomes illegal now to have a heart attack, even though you're running me ragged with your BS, putting me on guard where I feel like I have to go to 3 different fucking provincial court settings in order to stand my ground and say that's enough. I'm done. I'm right. You've been targeting my family all these years. I work hard. You know, I hold down the fort. I do what I'm supposed. I push past whatever is irritating me with my eyes, whatever. I pay the bills. I pay things that are unnecessary that the landlord should be paying. The landlord had 2 fucking years to deal with that shit that was out in the back, which some of that wood was her wood from her rotten porch. You know what I'm saying? Okay, right? The fence falling down. I've been pleading to get help with the fence. Now the fence all over the place is falling down, and I've got no materials to fix nothing. It ain't gonna get fixed. The fucking it's just stupid, man. Stupid. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no, I'm in trouble. I'm fucking in trouble here, people. You don't know what kind of trouble I'm in. Do you see that? What do you see? What do you see? Sweet potatoes and stuff. Wow. What do you see here? Wow, I'm in trouble. Do you see that? Do you see the stress that I'm under? I got food in my house. Doesn't matter what kind of food. It could be that kind of food. It could be in a bucket. It could be in a jar. It could be in a can. It could be in a box. It wouldn't matter. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to the family. You gotta put it outside where you can just freely walk through in the event of something. As if you can't move the fucking box to get through. As if you can't move the fucking box to get through. I'm just using that as an example. Right? Because I don't want to put them in my room. I've tried that before. I've tried to put these kind of things in my room. Like squashes and, like, right? They don't like it for very long. They really don't. They prefer a more dry, he's awake, a more dry environment, right? And like they were on sale, eh? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, potatoes, I don't like to put in my room. You know, I don't even have room to put them in there. But I've had them in my room before, and they don't really like it. And you know, I've got the sweet potatoes. I can't put those in my room, right? I can't. They should be downstairs, technically, because it's cooler down there, like a cold room, right? They should be in Shemai's room, easy to get to at when you need it. But I can't do that. So anyway, yeah. Andre wants to bolt. Go to a safe house. But he needs to figure out what the hell's running the safe house. You don't want to run from one fire to another fire. Yeah. And he doesn't want to talk to cops because he hasn't done anything wrong and he knows it. And he knows that they can't force him to talk unless he's detained. How he figured that one out, I don't know. And I said, yeah, actually, you have a point. I never thought about it. I'm sorry that you have to even think about those things, Andre. Right? And being that these women, if you want to call them that, want to steal my shit, even though it's not outright theft like the city of Surrey. That wasn't outright theft, but it was a form of theft. It was a wrongful seizure of belongings. And they use extortion and threats, intimidation, as a means to get you to do what they want you to do, so that you end up with nothing, because that's basically what the end result is. Well, then, I'm going to put a dollar value on it. Yep, and then it becomes a crime. If I can document the dollar value on it, is that material facts, or is that facts, or is that evidence? That's where I get confused with material facts and facts. What's the difference between material facts and facts? Because to me, they're both the same. If we got a box of books being thrown out because it's interrupting somebody else's opinion, and they want to use legislation as a means to make you do it, even though if you find where they're wrong and you take them to court and you challenge that legislation and you bring in the Criminal Code of Canada through breach of trust and those types of sections, right? Conspiracy to commit fraud or whatever, or theft or whatever, right? They ignore it. They act like it doesn't exist and that you're stupid. And they actually humiliate you and will insult you in a court of law. Yeah. So, he's supposed to be in a bedroom by himself over there. So that if I'm in the living room sleeping and a fire breaks out and it's in here or over there, I wouldn't be able to get to him, so that means he would burn up and die. Being that they want Amari in his own room. In a cage. Because now they're saying both rooms. Okay, why? Because Amari needs his room. Okay, really? You're going to lock him into a room by himself? Well, you can sleep with him. Oh, okay. Well, who's going to... At what time do I get to go to sleep? Because he's awake. I woke up at 4 because of him. We were all sleeping. But he started with this. Right? Because he gets, like, tone. It's nerves or whatever. And I deal with it right away because I don't want it to go into a seizure where he's all of a sudden, he's like this. Maybe it's the first beginning stages of a seizure. I don't know. I just know that it happens every now and then. And that's what woke me up. And then I dealt with it. And if it would have went into a seizure, all I'd have to say, Andre, Andre, Andre. And Andre would be up and we'd be on it. And yeah, it would be dealt with. And because we got that heart of steel and we know what works. But these social workers want me to put him in a fucking bedroom. Yeah, okay, I'm going to come out here and do dishes while he starts doing this. And nobody's there to help him. Well, Andre's still in the living room. Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah. Like I said, they're just putting him at risk to serious injury or death. Based on my experience with looking after him and his needs. So all we can do is work our way out of this house. If we manage to sell more things faster and the bedroom empties out at some point, I said, well, we'll just see what happens, Andre. If we migrate to it, fine. If we don't, we don't. If he does, to what degree, wouldn't be what these social workers are thinking. No. Because Andre actually is in touch with the rhythm of the house in terms of what works around basically Amari's needs. Yeah. And they make him feel bad for that. And not only do they make him feel bad for that, they don't want him to learn anything of substance when it comes to just doing it through, homeschooling aspect in terms of through the, the process. But, and now they got him working for nothing. Because he won't get any money for it, because we won't get a chance to sell it. Because it's being robbed from us. It's being taken away from us. It's considered junk. It's uncleanly. We need to clean the box up. Get rid of it out of the house. That's the cleaning part that I have to do. Yeah, okay. Okay. I guess I'm not quite done with this video yet. So I've decided to use, for some of these, maybe with the high seasoning salt, I'm going to use regular mouth-sized jars, right? And because I and then I put them in this box, which is actually a diaper box, but it's perfect, right? To store them. I don't know. Is it level? Let's see. Thing is, I've been up since 4 this morning. Needless to say, I'm on overdrive with my emotions and whatever, but what's new, right? And, what do you call it? I have to go outside and work on the porch, right? Because, Gabe left a mess out there, and, I got food out there, and the weather's changing, so. But I also have to do this. Right? As I got the pressure now to liquidate tens of thousands of dollars in the house. But I'm documenting it before I give it away. Because it's either that or the garbage. Forget the storage. I'm not putting fucking fabric and books and all that crap into storage. What's the point? It just sit there. It's already been sitting long enough, right? So that should work. So I'm going to get these ready. I have to wash these because I think these are new because these are new. So I have to wash everything before I use it so it sits on the counter and then it becomes a problem. Because there's things on the counter like this, right? Whatever. This is my porch. This is my storage room. This is my laundry room. And this is my kitchen. Am I happy to have it? Considering all things said, yeah. My washing machine was making a really bad noise. Not yesterday, but the day before. I did a load of socks because I got bags of socks, just miscellaneous socks. So I'm washing them all, sort them out, whatever. And I washed some socks and it didn't make any noise. So I'm wondering if it's the weight, because I do a lot of laundry in this little guy, right? And because of the blankets with the Mari and the pillows, and it is a good workhorse. General Electric, the old school General Electrics are good machines. So I guess that should be okay. So I'm kind of doing a little bit of prep work, trying to figure out what jars I'm going to use. The grapes, Andre filled up the jar. So they're done. One didn't seal, but that's okay. So I have to put those away today so I can clear off the counter so I can wash more jars. And then we're going to work on the broths, get them into jars, get them out of those containers, and get the seasoning salt out of the plastic. And then I have to put these in my room after the fact. But at some point, I'm going to have to go outside. I told Andre first thing in the morning, I just didn't expect to get woke up. But I'd probably wake up anyway, so what difference does it make? Doesn't make no difference, right? Look what I found. I thought they were regular mouth, but they're not. They're wide mouth. Huh. So I got 6 regular in that box, plus I got these. This should be more than enough for those stocks. Chicken stock, vegetable stock, beef stock, gravy mixes, and High's seasoning salt. Pretty damn close anyway. Oh boy, I'm so happy. And isn't that what slave masters do? I've been listening to like a lot of old history. I know it's done through AI or whatever, like an AI editor or whatever, but somebody ultimately had to put the stories together when it related to slavery in the 1700s and 1800s and those types of things. And just the overall mentality of the slave owners, and you know how it affected the slaves themselves. But isn't that what slave masters do? They make you afraid. They work you twice as hard. They wear you down. They don't give a crap about how you feel, right? They want you to be under emotional distress, and they, you know, it's like that boiling frog. It starts slow. They're building it up, adding in more this, just whatever, because it's all about who's in control. And they threaten to take your loved ones away from you as a tool, like they did in the old days with slavery, right? Just pawn them off to somebody else, make money as they do it, because there's always an exchange of money involved, right? If they put on Amari in foster care, like that person, to put him in a metal cage with a padding around it, a feeding tube, and a baby monitor on him, will get $4,000 a month for that, people. That's what's going to happen if they decide to take Amari, because I'm not liquidating my assets fast enough to their liking, because that's what it's going to boil down to, right? Right, because before I just throw it out or give it away, I'm going to log it. Yeah, I'm going to log it. Which means it could mean anything, because I'm under threat, right? I'm being treated less than a slave, like a slave. I won't say less than a slave. Okay, I will be punished. Maybe you won't see the slash marks on my back from the whip with my back bleeding. Maybe you won't see that, but you'll see the psychological trauma as it trickles down to each and every member within my family based on what's going on. Yeah. Yeah. So what? Am I supposed to just take $100, $200 worth of spices and broth, soup bases, and those types of things, and just chuck them outside into the garbage can? Is that what I'm supposed to do? And don't forget, just out of convenience, coincidence, my destiny, don't forget, I just got out of that, seeing that eye doctor with my eye like going like this ever since I seen him, because of those tests and the overdosing of the freezing agent, which stung my eyes for over a minute on each eye. Yeah, I'm having to deal with this as I'm like hiding my jars like a dirty secret. And that's another thing. Now that I've built in food security, like, honest to God, people, you know, these few little grocery shops, I mean, yeah, the butter adds up, the eggs add up, the whipping cream adds up, the milk adds up, yogurt adds up, but I'm going to, at some point, be making batches of yogurt. I've got different methods to do it, plus I bought the screen if I want, right, to do Greek yogurt, which I didn't know about in the past, but now I know. And I can make, you know, cheeses and cream cheeses, not to mention the cheeses that I'm going to be dehydrating because I still got them downstairs. The point is, I could, if I really, really, really put my mind to it, I could probably get away with spending a minimal of $200 a month on groceries for those types of things that I just mentioned. right? Not including the canned milks that I have and creams and the powders that I have when it comes to milk and whole milk and that kind of stuff. Or what I dehydrated in the past with the yogurts and the cottage cheeses and when I was doing that stuff, right? I on a low ball, $200 a month, and that's all the vegetables, fresh fruit, and dairy products, right? Very little meat, maybe, 1 or 2 pieces of something throughout the month just to have it come in fresh, but outside of that, I don't need it. And up to no more than 400. Between 200 to 400. Which is, in this day and age, extremely good. They don't value this, these social workers. Like I said, they got me putting my food outside, for crying out, and I'm hiding it like a dirty secret. I found those black beans. Right here. I just looked in the bucket. There's room for them. So I had a Mylar bag, but I already misplaced it. I don't know where it is. Anyway, got another one here. I don't put them in the Mylar bag. I don't put them in that bucket. Because I'm at that tail end of food prep. Like putting spices in jars and miscellaneous things that, I haven't had a chance to do yet, right? But I'm not buying spices. I'm not buying soup broths and stocks and none of that crap. No. I'm not buying any canned goods. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm not buying it. No. Oh, that's not true. I bought 4 cans of pineapple, just sliced, because, I want to get into these pizza pockets soon. And, I'm not going to be downstairs anytime soon. And they were $2 a can, so I bought just to top off with a couple of cans, because once we start, I know Andre's going to want to make them all the time, right? And then when I get downstairs, depending on the state of the can, because they've been down there for a while, we're either going to continue using them, but if I feel that I need to recan them in my jars here to get them out of the tin so they don't, acid doesn't eat through the can, right? I'll do that. But for now, I bought 4 extra cans. But other than that, I don't ask me to buy any canned goods because I don't need them. That's what I mean. Same thing with rices, and same thing with pastas, and pasta sauces, and jams, and canned meats. I mean, you got Spam, and you've got luncheon meat, you've got sardines, you've got freaking oysters, you've got shrimp, you've got crab, you've got freaking sockeye salmon, you've got pink salmon, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's not including what I've home canned in my own personal jars, right? And do they care about that? Seems like it's more like a threat. Yeah, black beans. These are not organic. I remember when I bought these that came with jars. I bought the jars before I bought the beans, but they came with the beans, and so it was just okay. So I bought the 4 jars with the 4 different types of beans. One was a Great Northern, one was a black bean, one was a Cantatelli bean, and the other one were, at one point they were whole red lentils, which would probably sprout. And then they ran out of the whole lentils and ended up doing split. But either or, right? That's the last bag from when I used to do that in those days. And I don't need to do that anymore, and that's the point. And that's why I can bring if I really put my mind to it, less than $200 a month for groceries. Yeah. That's penny pinching. 400. Yeah. And do I get any respect for that? Fuck no. So when people tell you that the government doesn't like preppers, nope, they don't want people to be independent, right? In terms of, not relying on the government for everything, yada yada yada. For those, hardcore preppers that have a little more money and, they own their own houses, and, they take it up a little higher than I could ever would. Not that I wouldn't do it. If I had the income and the housing, I'd probably go a little higher with what I've been doing, but I'm at the point where I'm satisfied, and what little I have, I want to look after it, and that's why I'm going to re-jar up these spices and stuff. But if you were to look here at this point, what do you think if the social workers came knocking on my door? What would happen to me right now? What the hell do you think would happen to me? Is it my fault that I don't have a functioning freaking porch or any kind of spillover area or any proper storage in this house? Okay, what little I had, well, whatever I had downstairs has been reduced down to less than a quarter, let's just put it that way, with a big mess that I have to reorganize, right? You know what I'm saying? As I'm being now told to get rid of tens of thousands of dollars of quality items that are upstairs because somebody has a point to prove, right? And feel that they can come into your life and tell you that you don't have a right to own it. And if you do, then you sacrifice your kids or your grandkids or your nieces and nephews, depending on where they are in with the family unit and what your caregiving role is with them, okay? Right? Because without the kids, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on, right? They just wouldn't. But, you know, they got to keep the portfolio cash infused. Cash infused. They don't get money from the provincial government unless they have the statistics to get the money. In terms of, you need X amount of kids to get X amount of dollars every fiscal year. And that's not including bonuses. Okay? If I didn't have food in the house, oh, and they're trying to make it sound like I don't feed the fucking kids, as they're, well, you know, are you eating okay, Andre? Well, yeah, my uncle makes food and Marina makes food, and, you know, what about Amari? Well, if it comes up, we grind up what, you know, Amari likes 95% of what Marcane makes, right? Because, unless it's really spicy, okay? And, you know, so we take always a little bit and we try and grind up for Amari for the most part, right? Sometimes it doesn't happen because the food is not appropriate, like nachos and stuff. It's just a little harder, right? But other than that, like they make it sound like there's no food in the house. In terms of, are you getting enough to eat? Well, yeah, right? You know, if Nana's not cooking and I'm not cooking and Marcane's cooking, right? Even me, I eat, right? And Marcane says, "Oh, you've been eating more lately." I said, "Well, yeah, I only don't eat it when I'm mad at you." Right? When I'm really mad, I don't want to eat the food. But, you know, I mean, when I'm busy like this, and, you know, and I go all day. Like, I'm constantly doing Andre's dishes, you know, and just whatever. So, and, you know, I told him I want to make the, you know, the breads and the sourdough breads and the pizza pockets and the cookies and the cakes and the freaking donuts and the freaking cinnamon buns and, you know, whatever, like the good old days, eh? You know, casseroles. There's that bag. And, but I have to finish up this stuff first, and it doesn't help when you're constantly being displaced with your belongings, and that's what I've been going through for the last several years. On top of, I do the daily grind. That takes up a lot of my time, right? A lot of my time. So now we're going to take this, and we're going to hide it in here, because this is a dirty secret. Yeah, and there is some room in here. You can see. I'm keeping these boxes just yet because I'm still dealing with these spices and stuff. I'm putting these jars in boxes after I'm done. So this, I don't know what's in here. It says beans on here, but no, that's not beans. That's flour. What the hell? It says beans. Oh my God. I must have changed. This is flour. I must have changed buckets. There's another bucket in here with beans. Whatever. I don't care. I'll put beans and flour. I'll put flour there too. I got beans over there as well, but I think that bucket's full. Hold on. That's another thing. They want both rooms. I don't know. One for Amari and one for Andre. Okay, that's not the way it's going to go down, people. Right? I'd never, ever put Amari in a room by himself. Never. No, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Not like what they're thinking. No way. I've already done that. It doesn't work. Okay? It's dangerous for him. All right? Anything could happen. So, the other thing is, I'd like to move one day, right? So, is that what they expect for me to move into when I move? Into a 3-bedroom? 1 room for Andre, 1 room for Amari, and another room for me? Oh, okay. As if I can afford that in this economy, with the way the housing corruption has made everything so unaffordable. No. I'm looking for myself 1 big rumpus room, right, where I can build around Amari's needs. Bring in the piano, right, bring in the drums, right. Amari's got his big king-size mattress with the bean bags, and we've got the TV with the Land Before VCRs, and all those other little VCRs, Pinocchio, and, The Tramp, and Beauty and the Beast, and Cinderella, all those, right? And, I have all those VCRs. Got a lot of them, right? And, a couch, and an easy chair, and if we can squeeze in a single mattress in there somewhere, on a frame off to the corner, just in case somebody wants to sleep there, because, it is what it is, then that's, yeah, right? And then Andre will get a room. Empty, start fresh. But before we move in, he would have already chosen the things that he wants to put in his room that are here in the house right now. DJ equipment is one of them, right? He wants the DJ equipment. Some guitars. He wants that. He's not allowed to have his PC in there online for gaming and all that crap. But he's allowed to have a PC in there that he can work with when it comes to making music and those kind of things. But he can't go online with it. But he'll be allowed to take his laptop in there from time to time, when that time comes. But as it is right now, do you honestly think that when my grandmother was living on the farms with her 5 kids in that 1-room house with a wood stove in the middle of it, as they were taking baths in a wash tub, one after another in the same water as they were warming it up on the stove, the water that is, as they brought it in from outside from a well, do you honestly think that she wanted instant gratification in terms of what's right when it comes to child rearing? And what parents are required to provide to their kids in order to be, I guess, normal, acceptable? Or do you think it was a progression where, they raised their family, they worked the fields, right? The kids walked, for miles and miles to get to school, miles and miles to get back, and then they had to do the chores, they had to feed the animals, they had to, because they had farmland, right? They were farmers, right? And, she lived like that for years and years and years and years and years. And then what happened? Everybody grew up, got married. My uncles were car salesmen, Uncle Nick and Uncle Harry, and they were the top they were the top car dealers, salesmen in all of Alberta, the 2 of them. Yeah. My Aunt Jerry became a chartered accountant, right? My Aunt Noreen married, was a faithful wife right up until she died. Whatever. Uncle George, her husband, worked for the Bay, doing curtains and stuff. It was in those days, all you needed was 1 income in order to buy a house and retire and do all this stuff and have your wife stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom. You know what I'm saying? Not like now. Now they put people on the run. Oh yeah. Definitely put people on the run. The more vulnerable you are, the more they exploit you. Yeah. And they do it through fear, and through threats, and intimidations, and assumptions, and accusations. And when you try and take it to court, to trial, then they still threaten you. Or, depends how long it's been dragging out for, they might try and cut you a deal so that you forget. Well, I haven't forgot, people, okay? I haven't forgot anything. So now I'm running around hiding my dirty secret